The first chill of October hits, but the field, it's on fire. 6 weeks in, the sparks are flying. The upsets, the chaos, the noise. And now, it's time for the games that change everything. Every play feels heavier. Every hit sounds louder. Every second counts double. Rankings, they mean nothing now. Because in October, it's not about the numbers. It's about the charge. The crowd's humming like a power line. The lights are ready to blow. You can feel it. The voltage running through every sideline, every headset, every heartbeat. Some teams are fighting for redemption. Some are fighting for respect. But all of them are fighting to stay alive. Saturday's not a game anymore. It's a surge. The lights, the sound, the shockwave. This is where heroes are made and dynasties burn. Welcome to Virtual Recall's Week 6 recap and Week 7 look ahead. As always, like, subscribe, and don't forget to lock on. Let's get them.
Sorry to all the Iowa State fans. I'm picking you guys to win the Big 12 this year, so it means you're probably not going to win the Big 12. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, I had doomed Iowa State, making them my pick to win the Big 12. Cincy not only beat Iowa State, they handled them. Cincy is not an easy place to play, and they were starved for a good win ever since Fickle left a few years back. The score does not do the naked eye justice for the Bearcats. At one point, the game was 31-7 in the favor of Cincy. Now, is this a complete derailment of the season for the Cyclones? Far from it. But they just so happen to share the same conference as Texas Tech.
Yeah, Iowa State I thought was going to take care of business, but Cincinnati had something to prove, and they proved they did. By the end of the first quarter, it was 17-0 Cincy. Iowa State didn't have their first score until the opening seconds of the second quarter, with a massive 3-play, 75-yard drive. When that happened, I figured that they might be making a comeback, but nope. Cincy would score another 2 touchdowns, making it, like you said, 31-7. But they did manage to come back and make it 38-30, but the Cyclones had no time left with 4:01 left in the game, to which Cincy controlled the game from there. This isn't the end for the Iowa State Cyclones, though. They can't lose any more games if they want to make that Big 12 title, but for Cincinnati now being 2-0 in the conference, they would have a good start so far to stay in the Big 12 title contention race.
All right, here we go. Give me something. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Look at play.
I told you he was fucking adopted.
I can be fact-checked on this and say it as clear as day now. Arch Manning is not his granddad Archie. He is not his Uncle Eli. And he sure and fuck is not his Uncle Peyton. Moreover, he's not even his own person. He's a mongoloid skinwalker thinking it's a Manning with Nathan Peterman being the guy underneath the mask the Scooby-Doo gang pulls off. As for the overarching story of Texas, Steve Sarkisian finds himself with a 3-2 team that was being told all offseason the only thing between them and a national title was them. Which those who said that were not exactly wrong per se. The only thing between them and a national title is Texas. It's Texas's inability to realize what they are doing is not working. The team has no identity. As for Florida, it's a good win, but I don't think getting the best of a very unsettled Texas team is enough to say Billy Napier's job.
Billy Napier pulled a Saban effort on Saturday. Like you said, it kept his job safe for now. Archie Manning is no longer the hyped up Heisman favorite player. He is now the player who that lost to a then 1-3 Florida team by going 6 for 29 for 2 touchdowns and a whopping 2 interceptions versus Lagway's 21 for 28 for 298 yards and 1 interception. Florida even got a safety near the end of the first half. Texas needs to make a decision now if Manning is the right way going forward in the quarterback position. And Florida this might have saved you for now, but it's still a long way to go in the SEC conference schedule down the road.
There's a saying many come quite familiar with at one point or another in their lives. It's called fuck around and find out. Diego Pavia fucked around all week, believing his 36-year-old, 12-year vet and college football experience bullshit would back all of his smack talk prior in the week going to Tuscaloosa. To the credit of Vanderbilt, they are a good team that can line up against anyone and throw a good couple of jabs in the ring. But unlike last year, they turned from being the hunter last year to being the hunted this year, especially by the team that was their largest trophy last year. As for Alabama, the game started slow and mistakes were made, but so far, unlike last year, they would not allow it to be their own ruin. Ty Simpson is not only making his case to be Alabama's best player, he is making his case of being the nation's best player.
I believe Vandy is still a good team this year in the SEC, but they went to the Lions' Den, or in this case, I should say the Elephant's Den in Tuscaloosa. Bama had revenge on their mind, and like you said, they had a slow start, but after the Tide in the first half, the Crimson Tide was rolling. Vandy would be outscored in the second half. 0 points for them, 16 for Alabama, with Alabama getting 3 field goals and a last-second touchdown with a 20-yard run from Jam Miller with a run. Big ol' Big Talk Pavia had no walk, with only being 21 for 35 with 198 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception, compared to Simpson's 23 for 31 for a whopping 340 yards and 1 interception. Bama got their convincing revenge game, and I believe they are a better Bama team than what we saw against Florida State in week 1.
Okay. Where do I even begin? Typically, if Penn State loses, I let Sato bury his own anguish and disdain shit pile towards Penn State. But what the fuck? If any of you may notice, last week was missing Nico status because I had already chopped that buyout all I could. I had all but sold the idea of UCLA being 0-12. But as some things wind up being false, that prediction of mine is one of those things. They're going to go 1-11, with their one win being quite possibly the worst loss in recent and quite possibly all of Penn State's history. Jim Knowles making a lateral move from OSU to PSU to be their defensive coordinator was a big storyline in the offseason. But how many thought him doing that would make Penn State's defense not improve, but rather massively regress? James Franklin has got to be the luckiest son of a bitch to not have been left in California last night, because this loss is worse than Vandy over Bama last year.
Game? What game? There was totally no game this Saturday where my Lions lost to Nico, I'm about to leave ya, where our defense, our elite, national title storming defense held UCLA to, what was it? 446 yards, mind you, a 0-4 team, and we didn't come back until late in the second half, but it was a little too late. We are now unranked, as we should. After this piss-poor performance, UCLA's new offensive coordinator said the team only had 2 days of practice on this game plan. 2. The footage speaks for itself. I've never been the camp in the history of James Franklin's tenure at Penn State to always call for his head at any loss, but right now, I'm done. I am done defending this shit nozzle of a football head coach. And Aller, after the game, saying, We're still playing for the playoffs. Give me a break. We will probably be facing Texas, another unranked team, in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And lose that game too, because national title? No. We want to go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Yeah! That's where it's at. Yeah, baby. Woo! And why are we not using Katron Allen? He has been the better running back than Singleton, because at least Allen can get through and get some good yardage. Singleton couldn't do jack squat. But sadly, we didn't leave his ass, him being James Big Game Franklin, on the LAX tarmac, because he's got a $53 million buyout at the university is not willing to pay. I hope this Saturday in Happy Valley, it's not Happy Valley, it's Angry Valley, and the boos and the Fire Franklin chants ring across the mountains in State College. James Franklin?
If you go down the hall and to the left, straight down Jabroni Boulevard, and straight up your candy ass, welcome to the piss corner, you incompetent fuck. It's because of you, Nico Stas now has positivity and is back to being a relevant gap I have to edit now onto our videos. Now go into the corner and sulk like the bold bitch you are. Though the score was a one-score difference at the end, much like Cincy, it is not indicative of what happened. Miami was very much in control of the game from kickoff, and the Canes continue their war path as quite possibly the best team in college football. Carson Beck continues to play effectively, and the defense does so even more. The home crowd was silenced by the third quarter, with Miami holding a 28-3 lead until FSU scored in garbage time to make the final result closer than it was. As for FSU, it looks like the magic of Bust Malzahn from week 1 has worn off, and furthermore, if they had to line up against Bama again, it would be a different result. Wow. Who could have ever seen that one coming?
Yeah, FSU is far from what it was in their week 1 upset of Alabama, with their 3 turnovers that killed their early game momentum that they could have had. Miami took care of the Seminoles, and like you said, only started scoring in garbage time, scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter, but it was a little too late. Miami right now is honestly my top pick for the ACC title contender, and honestly, just give them the championship right now, because I can guarantee you they'll be in the playoffs going for that national title game.
Looking at week 7's matchups, there's plenty to actually be seen this weekend. Starting off in Columbia, not South Carolina, but Missouri, we have Alabama at Mizzou. Now, as for my pick, you already know what it is. It is by obligation. I have to pick the Crimson Tide. Alabama could be 0-6, and I still have to pick them. Now, I will say this, though, with 100% conviction, I'm picking them with confidence here. I believe Alabama is a team on a mission, and I really believe that Ty Simpson, he's a man on a path to win the Heisman. So, yeah, give me Alabama 35-17.
Yeah, Alabama going to Mizzou is going to be a great matchup, and with Alabama on the trails on the redemption arc of finally beating Vanderbilt and putting that week 1 loss behind them and getting strong. And that's why I'm going to pick Mizzou to roll over the Tide, because you know why? Those Tigers have what should have been the Nittany Lion quarterback, Bo Perbula, at the helm, and he's going to run over that Crimson Tide defense, I tell ya. And Mizzou Tigers are going to roar to victory with a 21-24 victory. It's going to be a close game, because I'm a fan of close games, unless it's with my Nittany Lions trailing behind an 0-14. But we already discussed that. But yeah, give me Mizzou 21-24.
Now moving on over to a state next to Missouri, OSU at Illinois. Now, I really want to go with Illinois here so badly. I want to go with Illinois so badly. But Sir chokes a lot. Brett Bielema. Look, you're out of the piss corner. And even if you lose this game, I'm going to give you immunity, at least for this week, not to go back into the piss corner. Just because, for the simple fact, OSU is going to bullshit their way to a win there in Champaign. And it pains me so hard to say that. And the reason why I say that is because this is a game they're semi going to wake up for. OSU, I believe, is definitely going to drop a game this year, but it's going to be a game that they did not wake up for, and they just saw on the schedule and thought, no reason to show up today, guys. I'll just have the practice squad wear our jerseys and go play the game for us. Sadly, that will not be this game, and OSU will show up, but I will say it will be OSU's tightest match against a team that can throw a jab here and there, unlike Arch Manning-led Texas.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really, really want to pick Illinois, but like you said, Captain Fat Fuck himself, and I'm not talking about Ben Roethlisberger, I'm talking about their head coach, Brett Bielema, of the Fighting Illini, against even though Ohio State's only quality win against Texas isn't looking good right now, Ohio State right now seems to have a good rhythm going with their rookie quarterback. And right now, I don't see Illinois stopping OSU, even though deep down, I want Illinois to beat them, but I know reality versus delusion. My delusion say Illinois can win, but reality says Ohio State's going to have their typical, slow first 2 quarters, giving us hope of them losing. But no, Illinois is going to choke, and OSU is going to beat them single-handedly. Give me the Buckeyes 31-14.
Heading on over to the ever so classic Red River rivalry, probably the most unpredictable rivalry in all of college football. The reason why I say that is because I cannot tell you how many years one team has came in as the obvious favorite, being ranked at least anywhere from number 5 to number 1 in the nation, while the other team can come in totally unranked, i.e. Texas, and win the game. I am here to tell you, history is going to do that again and repeat. And the only reason why I say that is Oklahoma is without their starting quarterback. Steve Sarkisian comes from a Saban system, and he is going to be looking for a big win to try to get his team back on their feet. Now, will I think them beating Oklahoma without their star quarterback will jumpstart their season? It could. I don't foresee it just because there's so many patchy holes on Texas as a whole, especially on offense, that I do not see it being something that they can maintain and live off of to a playoff berth or even a good bowl game berth. But this is a rivalry game, and it is an intense rivalry game. So give me the Longhorns. Probably I'm going to give it a score. Knowing these teams, give me 24-17 Texas.
Yeah, but here's where I'm going to say, to quote the great Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Just because Oklahoma doesn't have their starting quarterback, Texas, in my mind, is a limping shell of their former selves, as long as they have Captain Imposter himself, Archie Manning, at the helm. Oklahoma, even though it's a quote-unquote neutral site, Oklahoma's going to show up. They're going to have their rivalry blood flowing through them. Give me the Sooners 42-14.
Heading on over to LA, there in California, we have Michigan at University of Southern California. Now, this matchup is an interesting one for the simple fact. If you remember last week in a video, I said that Lincoln Riley, if he wants to continue the Lincoln Riley experiment in Southern Cal, he needs, does he need to, 1, beat Michigan, and 2, win out the rest of his games this season if they want to continue this, because I believe this will be the last year of the Riley experiment in Southern Cal before he just magically either A, does a lateral move to another college, or B, for some crazy reason, an NFL team hires him. But I'm going to say Michigan gets the dub. That defense will be way too much for the USC offense, and I really think Michigan is going to run the ball and control the clock. Give me Michigan in a 28-16 solid performance victory. Go Blue.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm taking the Wolverines as well on this one. Michigan, right now, compared to USC, seems like the more complete team. I mean, Michigan's first-year quarterback had a little shaky start to the season, losing to Oklahoma and Norman, but Michigan right now seems like a more complete team than the other Lincoln Riley dumpster fire in USC. So, give me the Wolverines winning single-handedly, 21-7.
As for our game of the week, 2 years ago, you would have seen this game and thought, oh, it's just a technical Power 5 conference tune-up game for the Oregon Ducks there in Eugene. But no, it is very much quite the contrary. Indiana and quarterback Mendoza, who is, as of right now, the betting favorite to win the Heisman, are heading into Eugene ranked as the number 7 squad in the nation to take on the number 2 squad in the nation, that being the Oregon Ducks, in a top 10 matchup that is going to have massive implications on the Big Ten Conference, and furthermore, and adding up further than that, the college football playoff picture. Now, I'm always a man who really likes cheering for the underdog and giving them the benefit of the doubt in situations where the odds seem so insurmountable. But I'm sorry. Indiana, they are not built to take on a Dan Lanning classic run it down your throat style Oregon team that has a Georgia S 2022 defense. So yeah, no, I'm sorry. Indiana, you are not going into Eugene to beat the Ducks. Give me Oregon 42-20.
Yeah, with Indiana, Oregon, like you said, a couple years ago, you'd said, oh, this is just a lonesome Indiana unranked team getting another loss. But right now, with how hot Indiana's going, and going to Oregon, Eugene, it's not going to be the typical, okay, Oregon's going to roll over them. But at the same time, Oregon is a more complete team versus Indiana in my mind. So I'm going with the Ducks with this one, but it's going to be a close nail biter. Give me Ducks winning 34-31, last minute field goal to prevent overtime. Go Ducks.
That wraps up our Week 7 picks and look ahead. Mr. Sato, as always, thanks for recording with me.
Yeah, not a problem, my friend. And one parting word I had to say, fire Franklin. Honestly, is it a bad thing I want us to lose against Northwestern? Is it? So that way we have a better chance of getting rid of Franklin? Or do I wish for my Nittany Lions to keep winning out so we have a decent bowl game to go to? I don't know what's worse. But we shall see you next week. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, subscribe, and remember, lock on.
Couldn't have said it better myself. See you guys later.